Hello, this is Linda Vetras Nichols, evolutionaryhealer.com, and I have with me Julie Foucht, the most amazing guest. We had so much fun working out this presentation for you, and Julie came to a new epiphany in her message to the world, and this is so fantastic. You've never heard this information before, and before we get started, I would like to welcome Julie.
Hi, Linda. Thank you so much for having me. I've had so much fun talking with you and brainstorming and really coming up with ideas. I'm super excited to share some information with your tribe and to talk with you again today. You make my heart sing.
All right, I can say the same for you, my dear. So, Julie, you had said in your bio that you've been an entrepreneur like all your life, like probably me selling potato chips from the steps when I was a preschooler. Potato chips, 5 cents. Finally, the neighbor came over and bought the whole bag just to shut me up.
I don't blame you.
I know, right? And so tell us your adventure at age 12, because that's like still going on in your hometown, right?
It is. I grew up in this little tiny mountain town in Southern California, and to give you an idea of the size, when we moved in, we were the 32nd family. So during the off season, there were maybe 300 people there. And during the summer season, or when the snow fell, we could grow to 3,000 to 5,000. And I was a little bit of a smarty pants. Try not to cuss on your show. But I was a little bit of a smarty pants, and I saw this couple one day, and I watched this couple take a bag of garbage out of their car and drop it on the side of the road before they left town. And I picked the bag up and I dumped it upside down inside of their car, which didn't win me any points with them, but it gave me this great idea that people didn't want to haul their garbage with them when they left after having a nice weekend in the mountains. So I convinced one of the neighbor guys to park a big dumpster down in front of the lake where everybody had to go past it. And I sat there and sold space in my dumpster for $1 a bag all summer long. Made a bunch of money. And then I ended up, losing interest after a couple years. And the women's club down there took over. And I can't even tell you how many years, a lot of years now, that they continue to sell space in the dumpster. And when you're leaving for the weekend, Sundays afternoon, for $1, you can go dump your trash. And
that is so brilliant.
Thank you. And it was just one of the things that I thought of in order to make money, because I liked having my own money. I liked not having to ask for it. And we didn't have a lot growing up. So it was always good to be able to spend my own money and have what I wanted. And that carried me forward into adulthood. When I was younger, I had 4 kids. And so I was a stay-at-home mom and did little odds and ends to make money. So I went the network marketing route. Actually made quite a bit of money with network marketing, was very successful. Oh. I sold encyclopedias door to door. I did that just enough to earn my free set of encyclopedias and my free set of childcraft. And then I had enough of that.
I know, right?
Yeah, it was like, this is not fun. Yeah. But I did that kind of stuff. And I was constantly searching for, what do I want to do? I'm not happy just sitting back. I really couldn't get a traditional job because I couldn't afford daycare for 4 kids.
Yeah, right. And with your personality of dumping trash in people's car, you were rather unemployable, like most entrepreneurs, right?
I really was. The longest job I ever had was after my divorce. And I worked in a PR firm, and I worked for a guy who treated me like a partner. So it was his business, and I still had to ask permission to, take a vacation, but he always said yes. And I had tons of autonomy. And that was a really good job. It allowed me to get the training to become a coach. It gave me a safe place to land after my divorce and figure out what I wanted to do.
Nice.
And it was hard to leave that job because I really loved my boss, but I knew in my heart that was not what I was here to do. And it was a business that I would eventually have been able to take over for him and
Hmm.
to buy from him. And it wasn't in my heart. I
Mm.
knew that I was meant to do the work that I'm doing today. And it just took me a while. I'm a late
Right.
bloomer. It took me a while to find it.
I love it. And so just in a quick snippet, what is the work that you are doing today? Because I know you are a coach and you even have built retreats into your coaching packages. And so I know you do retreats. Tell us just a little bit more about what it is that you do in the coaching world.
What I love to do is help women to really find their own inner power and then to turn that into the mission for what they're supposed to do. I am
Mm,
incredibly great at helping women uncover and discover their mission and
mhm,
then take that mission and apply the pressure to it that becomes a marketing strategy. So you
mm.
have this great idea and you know who you're supposed to serve, then you can't just sit there.
Yeah, right?
And I remember this one gal in one of the network marketing companies that I was with, and we said to her, "What's going on with your business?" And she said, "Oh, I pray every day that God helps me build my business." And we went, "Great, that's wonderful. And then what?" And she said, "Nothing." And we said, "Have you talked to anybody?" And she said, "No, I'm just waiting." So there's this
Yeah,
place where you have to stop waiting and take action. And there's this place of really giving birth to what it is you're meant to do here. And I love taking and playing with the combination of those two, which is why we came up with the talk that you and I are going to talk about today, because
right.
it's such a beautiful place. I am passionate about women making money. I
Mhm.
think that it is super important. I spent 20 years in an abusive relationship. I
Oh,
stayed because I didn't think I could make enough money to be able to raise my kids on my own.
oh yeah,
And
4 kids. That's a
yeah,
lot.
and for wild kids. So I'm really passionate about women being able to have choice in their lives. And we
Mhm,
get choice when we have our own money. We also get a seat at the table.
mhm.
And as we're talking about what's happening to the planet, I'm in California right now. One of our houses is in the mountains. So we're like on fire in this state right now. And the West is really having issues right now with fires and with what's going on in the planet. And I really think as women, it's time for us to step up, take a seat at the table, and start making changes so that our planet can start to heal. And
Right.
one of the ways we do that is by having our own money.
Nice. Okay. Well, yeah, there's this the feminine energy and the male energy, and what I'm noticing is that in corporate, it's all about being in male energy to kind of keep up with the guys. And then a woman gets so burnt out and gets sometimes really sick and leaves for that reason too. And then when they step into entrepreneurship, because it's all about this, creating this whole business, then they're all in the feminine and scared to maybe pick up the phone, and just take the actions of it. And so they kind of go from one extreme to another, or even a housewife. That was me, and then I had, I sold discovery toys. I did the MLM thing, and I had a two tutoring franchises, but that's a whole, there's employee mentality and there's housewife mentality, and there's not a huge difference. Sometimes you're yeah, to get into that more feminine energy is one thing, but knowing how to bring the masculine in so it moves you forward is a whole other, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And you know what's really interesting, Linda, is I network with a bunch of 6 and 7 figure earners.
Hmm.
And so, and it's men and women, but many of these women have done what I did for the last 3 years, which is really plug into their masculine energy and build these
Right.
wonderful, great businesses.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
now we're all having this conversation about there's something missing. There's something it's and some of my colleagues and friends have actually experienced that burnout.
Yeah.
And so as I learn from them and look at what they're doing, and we have these discussions about what does it mean to be a woman in the workplace? How can women create really substantial businesses, make a huge impact on the earth, and stay true to that feminine energy and our feminine power? Um, it just becomes this really beautiful conversation. I don't have all the answers. I just know that this is a path as women that we are called to be on. And
Right.
it's
And so,
very
yeah, go
important.
ahead.
Well,
Very
it's
important.
just really important.
It's really what you're talking about and teaching on today is bring feminine into your business. So I'm going to pull up your slides here and
Yeah.
we'll get going because you have beautiful slides and a wonderful teaching. And I'm so excited to have you go over that. So bring the feminine into business. Marry your masculine and feminine energies. Well, first of all, if you don't know what masculine and feminine energies are exactly, that's why we have Julie here, because she has set up her slides for that. So I'm going to move you to the next slide. And there you go. So tell us, Julie, about masculine energy, versus feminine energy. So let's start with the masculine.
Yeah. And if you can imagine a woman that you've known either probably in business and corporate, and there's something just really hard about her. That's somebody who's really, really living in her masculine energy is very linear. We do this and this and we get this result. It's also very logical. You have to I remember with my starter husband, we'd
Yeah.
have these conversations. And you like that starter husband? Um,
Yeah. Terry and I have had 33-year starter marriages. Both
yeah.
of us. How weird is that? Yeah, we get starter marriages. Go for it.
So we'd have these conversations, and he was always like, it's got to be logical. Your argument has to be logical. It doesn't make sense to me. And that's very masculine energy, is that you've got to be able to prove it. It's a very lawyer way of thinking, have your backup information here. It's
Mhm.
also very, very direct. Again, it's like a train moving down a railroad track, and that train doesn't decide to take a side trip over and visit the ant. It just stays on the track and it goes forward, and it goes from point A to B. That's very masculine energy.
Yeah.
Feminine energy is much more like a flower blooming. It's very intuitive,
Like it.
it's very nurturing, and it's where our creativity comes from. And
Mhm.
we have both inside of us. Everybody has both masculine and feminine energy.
Yes.
The problem is, in our society, we've been taught to ignore that intuitive creative, to ignore our bodies, and just be logical. It's the way our school system's set up. We've never, in our school system, I never heard a teacher say, what does your instinct tell you about that? And so we're really taught in a way that's very masculine.
Mhm.
And then as women moving into business, we're taught, here's how to do a webinar, here's how to put together a lead magnet, here's how to build your free gift. And all that stuff is great and wonderful. And we need that stuff. But we also need that other side, that creative side, that nurturing side, that place that we give birth from.
Right. And that's what happened for me in our business. My husband figured out a process to take people through. We further developed it. People loved it. It really worked. We opened up an academy to teach it because people wanted to learn how to do it. We opened up a nonprofit to help, veterans and their families with this process. And in the development, I had the creative piece. Now that it's developed, it's like, okay, so what piece am I going to work with that's kind of like just my own? And so that's what I love to do, is what we did, in figuring out your message and slides, and helping in more of a creative way and a co-creative way, if you will, where I'm live time in like a Drive document or in the PowerPoint slides or whatever with a client, and I'm so excited about teaching relationship marketing, and also being very hands-on coach, because I don't believe that there's much of that out there, and women are lacking in that female connection. The tribes used to get together. The women were together all day, just even getting their um, chores done or whatever. So, and we're so desperate for getting back to that. So I love relationship marketing. I love having the phone conversations. It's people really almost are pushing that away, and then when they have it, they're like, that was so cool. And so it's kind of, that's my mission almost, to get people talking again, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly. And
let's
that's what I love about doing retreats as well, is the feminine process is very collaborative. It's
mhm,
very much, and we are able to be more creative when we're in relationship with each other. So
mhm.
that's why what you do is so perfect. And it's why I love to bring that. I love to have mastermind groups. I love to do retreats for that reason exactly. And
Yeah,
the one-on-one coaching, I love that too. But I have to have that other piece in my business or it just doesn't feel right.
right. Very cool. All right, we'll move on. So why marry the two? What are the benefits?
That's really a great question, Linda. And one of the things that happens is if we have too much masculine driving our business, then we risk burnout. I have seen it over and over and over. Personally, I don't have 3 years to waste healing my adrenal glands if I burn out. I'm on a big mission. I don't want to do that. So that's what happens if we have too much masculine. If we have too much feminine, we tend to not take action and we get into this lack mentality. So it's really important that we have a combination of both and that we know when and where to apply each one. We were designed with both inside of us. We were not designed to just have feminine energy and just have masculine energy. And we're all a blend. And
Mhm.
it affects every area of our lives. So the more that we can marry those two energies together and have them work in cooperation, the healthier we are in our bodies, the more successful we'll be in our business, and the happier we are in our relationships. Super simple.
Yeah, I love it. Super simple. I love super simple. Why is super simple always so hard, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sometimes super simple is a hard concept to understand. Sometimes super simple is just, yeah. And it takes male energy to take the action to do the female stuff you're talking about. It takes
Yeah.
some male action to get you into the bathroom and turning on the water and running that soak in the tub, right?
Exactly. I can dream up the best retreat in the world, and I can have all kinds of wonderful things that I know are really going to benefit people. But until I pick up the phone and either call a hotel to book a room or have my assistant call a hotel and book a room, and until I pick up the phone and sell some tickets, then nobody's going to show up. So it
Right.
really takes that combination of action and sort of intuitive, creative energy to be
Hmm.
successful.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to move to the next slide. Here's another point that you have about why marry the two. So bringing the feminine back into business brings balance to our lives and the planets. And you touched on that a little bit in the intro. Is there any more you'd like to add on that one?
You know, it's really interesting because as I see what's happening in the world today and the way that we treat each other in the world, it's very competitive. It's very aggressive. It's very masculine. And I think that the masculine has pushed down the feminine to the point where we've almost lost compassion with each other. There's a gal that I know, and she works with this tribe in the rainforest. And in the rainforest, she shows them pictures of Western civilization and of cities. And the mamas say, where are the women in this society? Because in their society, the men go out and hunt, the men go build, the men cut down trees, and the women tell them when it's enough. And they say, no, we have
Ooh.
enough now. You can stop hunting. We have enough. You can stop building. And it's their responsibility to protect the rainforest and their environment they live in. And I
Wow.
just look at that model. Is that awesome?
It is, and it reminds me of the Native American women too. They were the ones who owned the property. They were the money ones. It was when I heard that, I'm like, really? Yeah, they were even in charge of the money, in charge of the purchases. And in the Bible, it talks about the Proverbs 31 woman. She purchases her land to like grow stuff on or whatever. She uses her money. She had money, she made money, she knew how to make money. So it's like, that's just so interesting. We've really this is like a full circle as usual, right? I love your spirals.
Yeah, exactly. My spirals are very feminine on the slide, by the way. So
Yeah.
what happened is, up until even 100 years ago, women in our society had no property. We weren't allowed to have money and property. We we weren't allowed to go to court and be represented in court. And so there was this really squashing down of feminine power. Then when we bring it back up, I'm really aware of the tendency for us to swing a pendulum. And so I talk about, we have to be in balance with the masculine. We cannot bring the feminine up so far that we do the same thing to masculine
Well, I
energy.
saw that. How about you? I mean, on Facebook and in commercials, the dissing of men. And I really believe that women stepped in to stop that. Like, gossip stops when it hits the ear of a wise person, right? It's the same idea. And this whole men bashing thing the pendulum started to swing, and all of a sudden women were the predators and doing the same thing, only doing it to men. And in our younger society, the girls are like tough, and they can compete with the boys. They can be on the team, and they can beat people up. It's
Yeah.
like it's swinging again, and it's like, ooh. So yeah, we all have the job of stopping it and respecting all humanity.
Yes. And
Mhm.
honoring everyone and honoring all parts of ourselves. We see it out in the world, like you said, on Facebook. There are TV shows where the dad is the dumb one.
Right.
And it's not just men versus women. It's part of ourselves. This is in us. And when we don't honor all of us, then we become unhealthy people.
Right.
And our planet becomes an unhealthy planet as a result. The healthier people are, the healthier our planet will be. She reflects us 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And so getting into the how is about like allowing the space and time in your business for the daydreaming, and also then getting back in to the masculine to take the action. But you're saying just don't get stuck in the masculine, because it's easy to do when you really get kicking with your business, and it's difficult to do when you first start your business, because it's all about the feminine, the creative, and then you get into the fears of picking up the phone or whatever. So it is, in a way, it's a balancing act, and in another way it's not. Sometimes to launch your business, it's about really going into the masculine when it's time, and then also backing off and taking the break, so you don't burn out. So it really boils down to noticing, doesn't it, Julie?
It really does. And there are times in your business, if you're in the middle of a big launch, then you're going to be hard on, masculine. Oh, that was a nice slip of language there.
Oh, you just had to point it out, didn't you?
The way my mind works.
Yes.
So you're going to be pushing, you're going to be working long hours, but there's this space where you have to notice your body saying it's time to stop. And I
Mhm.
have this really interesting practice where my body, people ask me how long, what time do I quit work? I quit
Mm.
work at night anywhere between 4 and 8 p.m. And it's when my body goes, okay, that's it,
Yeah.
time to stop.
Yep.
That's a really feminine way of approaching a masculine work.
Mhm. Yep.
I also really believe you have to take time. I actually have to schedule it, which sounds really counterintuitive, but I
Right.
schedule in time to stop and daydream. Oftentimes for
Nice.
me, that's like going for a walk, getting out,
Mhm.
thinking about what I want. It's
Mhm.
very sometimes frustrating because you don't see the forward movement of daydreaming.
Right.
But when you're ready to go into action, everything is fully formed and it just like comes out of you. And
Right.
so
And
it's
I
important to do
yeah,
that.
sorry. In structure for people who are more spiritual or who are entrepreneurs, structure is usually not there. And we don't like literally plan out structure. But when we take that dream time, like take the walk and just it starts to organize the structure and then the structure just arrives. So it kind of saves the butt of the entrepreneur
Yeah,
to take the time and go into the feminine because the structure does kind of arise out of that. It's crazy, but it's interesting. But if you don't take those breaks and you just push, 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 you're going to burn out, and you're not going to have the structure that you absolutely must have in order to build a business and move it forward.
exactly. And it's not going to be fun.
Hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about meditating because I know for a lot of people, I say one of the ways to get back in touch with your feminine is meditate. And they go, oh, I can't sit still for 5 minutes. What do you mean meditate? Um, so if you're
Yes, that'd be me.
someone if you're someone who can sit with your hands on your knees for 5 minutes and clear your mind, man, I really admire you. I don't meditate that way. I can't meditate that way. My mind is very busy. I love guided meditations, so I will listen to guided meditations. I will find those online, but it also doesn't even have to be actually sitting.
Mm,
My husband swims, and for him
mm,
swimming is very much a meditation because it's
nice.
very physical. It gets him out of his head. It becomes a very physical thing, and he actually has the meditative qualities and the dream space while he's swimming. So
Nice.
it often, for some people it's running or it's even just walking can be very meditative if you're not a person who can just sit
Right.
and be still. I also have designed some meditations to go into these places within our bodies where the
Mhm.
creativity and the dreaming happen. So I will imagine that I'm there in that space and I just allow that to be. And so
Very cool.
whatever works for you in terms of meditation,
Hmm.
do it. Don't let anybody. Here's the thing, when you're in business for yourself, you get to define it. Nobody else gets to define it. So
Right.
you get to define what meditation means for you and how it's going to work for you. As long as it's
Absolutely.
working, do it.
Yeah, and I love doing Zen tangles. I want to keep my hands busy, then my mind just relaxes and I go into that no thinking space. So I just took like a Zen tangle class. I grabbed a Zentangle book and a sketch pad, and I'm off on my own now. And you don't even need a class, but my friend and I was like, oh, should we go? Yeah, sure. So I went a couple times. Yes, and now you have the word flirt. That throws me. It's like, okay, what are we talking about here?
And I put that on there on purpose because I knew that it would catch people's attention. And so I'm really glad that it threw you a little bit. When I say flirt, I'm not talking about that, hey, come home, come to bed with me type of energy that some women have, although it comes from the same place. So if you
Hmm.
look at the little Zen woman here, and
Zen woman.
That orange spot is the second chakra.
Okay.
The red spot is your first chakra. The orange spot is your second chakra. That orange spot is right here in your pelvis. It is the place of our sexuality, but it's also the seat of our creativity. And as women, that's where our womb is. That's, that's the most creative thing we do as women. Whether you have children or not, the most
Mhm.
creative thing you do is the ability to give birth.
Right.
That's where all our creative ideas come from and where they're birthed. And so that energy of flirting comes from that place. And when you open up that flirting energy, you open up to more creativity and the ability to actually design what the world needs next.
Mhm.
So that energy is almost like, remember back to your dating days. Which I just celebrated my 4th anniversary, so it's been a while.
Yay!
Um,
Same
and
here, actually.
wow,
Yeah.
awesome. Congratulations. So this flirting energy is very much a come play with me type energy. And when we have that with our prospects and with our clients, they want to be around us. It's very
Right.
inviting. It
Yes.
doesn't have to be sexual, although it's tinged with a little sexuality. But it's what, as women, makes us so alluring. And so, if
Mhm.
you can imagine even shooting a ray out into the universe, if you're at a networking event, you open yourself out, you shoot that out there, people are going to want to be around you. And you told me about an exercise you do where you actually pull that cord back in. You shoot the cord out and pull it back in, and people will want to come see what you have to offer.
Right. Well, what I talk about is like if it's a young gal at a bar or something like that, and she's wanting to pick up a guy, she's going to shoot it out from there, and it's going to be like, boop, 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 like fly paper, right? And then she can reel them in. What I teach is staying in you, and it's like client attraction. They come to you. And so I was in a busy bar for a networking meeting, and it was packed. And Terry's like, well, at one point, well, we probably should like move around the room. And it's like, good luck with that. Anyways, it was like, I just said, no, they'll come to us. And they did. I got 16 cards that night. So it's about pulling energy back in to that place and hanging on to it, where it's just like going like this, and people are like, what's going on over there? And they actually come to you. It's really cool.
I love that story. That is such a great story.
Oh, I love it too. Okay, so I'm moving on. This is the, like, okay, this is way too much to put on a slide. And I just told Julie, this is, important. So notice the energy you're in. That I really think is the bottom line of everything that we've talked about. Notice where you're at and notice the energy you're in. Is it feminine energy? Is it masculine? And is it moving you forward or backward in your business? So if you look at feminine energy, it's the soul of your business. Julie, you want to just kind of quick go over them? Maybe not all of them, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it really is that place where you have to go back and tap into. Your mission lives there in your feminine energy. It lives in the soul of your business. It's the way that you connect, just like Linda and I were just talking about. It's the way that you connect with your tribe. It's through that attraction. Um, and it's also the way that you imagine new products and new ideas. And those people who are creating in the world are the most successful. Steve Jobs did not get successful by imitating what um, the Microsoft guy, Bill Gates, should know that name, what Bill Gates did. He went
Mm-hmm.
out and he innovated and he created. And it's the same for us. So we want to be able to tap into that creative space and be innovative and creative. Now, the masculine part of that is that we then have to be brave and we have to put a strategy on it and we have to get out there and market it and we have to get out our calendars and our sticky notes and make a plan. What happens is we'll get caught in one or the other and not realize it. So we get caught in the feminine, and all of a sudden our bank account starts dropping. There's no
Hmm.
money coming in. There's no clients coming in. We've stopped focusing on the money generating activities.
Right.
Or we'll get caught in the masculine and we just keep hitting roadblocks after roadblocks, and it's hard. And
Mhm.
I teach my clients to paddle downstream. This is my life rule number one: always paddle downstream. Well, sometimes if you've ever been on a raft that's on the river, you try and paddle upstream. It's really, really hard. It's
Yeah.
frustrating. It doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't feel good. So that's kind of that place of being stuck in masculine energy. It's like, I will go upstream, you know?
Yeah, right.
And so we need to just stop and turn the boat around and let the river carry us downstream. And you'll know that because it actually, and if we go back to those chakras, different women feel them in different places, but either your throat will start to tighten up or you'll feel in your solar plexus just that knot. And it's like you just want to pound through it and get to the end of the project or the end of the day. That's the place where you start thinking those thoughts where you need to go, oh, I need to be softer. I need to step back. I need to go more into my feminine flow. Or when you notice that your bank account is empty or your calendar's empty and you haven't had any clients in a while, you'll know that you're in that feminine space and you need to stop and take masculine action. And it's simply taking the time to notice. I have a great app on my phone called a mindfulness bell,
Hmm.
and it goes off randomly. It's this nice little chime, and it just is a reminder to stop and notice what energy I am in and where I
Nice.
need to move next. It's really
Very
great.
nice. Yeah, I like that a lot. And it's not about you have to do this and you have to do that. It's about choosing an outcome. And so you have to do this to get this outcome. That's have to that way. And sometimes, especially when we're in feminine energy, it's like, oh, I have to do this and I have to do that. As we look at the masculine energy, and it's like, no, you get to because you're choosing a certain outcome, right?
That is why we are entrepreneurs, so we can choose. We always are at choice. And we can
Yeah.
choose to stay in the feminine energy and never make another dollar and be homeless and live under a bridge if that's what we choose.
Right.
Or we can choose to stay in that masculine energy until it takes us out of the game and we can't function anymore because we've burned out our adrenals. It's always a choice. And so I'm advocating that we are making the best choice. And sometimes you can't make the choice you want in the moment. You know, sometimes you've got 3 clients back to back and you can't stop and meditate or
Mhm.
go for a swim.
Or you could invite the client to do that with you. So, we lie to ourselves when we're in the feminine energy. I think we lie to ourselves, you know, just push forward and ignore all of it, right? So,
It's
yeah,
really funny because I take notes for my clients when I'm coaching them. So I do a
right.
lot of notes. And sometimes when we're in something really creative, I'll say to them, okay, I can't take notes for you right now. Thank goodness we're recording because we're going for a walk. And I do, I break my own rule and
Nice,
I stand up and we walk because I need that creative energy. And of course, then
nice.
maybe I shouldn't say this out loud. I tell my clients they have to walk with me. Um, of course,
They
they are
get to.
always a
They get to
choice.
if they want to finish their call with you. They get to.
They get to. It's better for them. It
Yes.
actually is better if we're both moving in those spaces. So
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
you're always at choice. That's why we're entrepreneurs. That's why we've chosen this crazy life.
Yeah.
And even if we make a choice that's not good for us in the moment, we can make a better choice in the next moment. So there's
Yes.
not a perfect way of doing this. There's not a right or wrong. It's
No.
simply to continue.
Right. There's not a right energy or a wrong energy. It is about noticing. And the best part about Julie coming, because that was amazing, she also has a free gift. So we're going to jump over here, and here's how to download your gift. You actually have that link in your email. So just go back to the email where you found the link to watch this, and I'll take you out so that you can download this roadmap to a 6-figure kick kick-ass business. And obviously this woman knows how to do that because she knows how to marry the masculine and feminine energies. Is there anything else you want to say about your roadmap gift? Thank you so much for your gift, Julie.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm really excited about it. It actually has the different pieces and how to marry them together, and it's the 5 key things that I think every entrepreneur needs to know in order to be successful. And then we marry that in with what's coming up inside so that your business, like you, is unique. Your strategies are unique. It's all about who you are and what you're bringing in the world. And so thank you so much for letting me share it. I'm really excited.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming. This is so cool.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Bye-bye, Julie.
Bye.